right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I'm joined once again with Juanito. Can you hear me, Juanito?
Just barely over the waves, bro.
That looks beautiful. Folks, we're going to be talking about, we're going to do a power podcast today. We're going to be talking about Tina Peters, Brennan, James Comey, 𝗬𝗏cie James, and Venezuela. It looks like Maduro saying, yeah, I'll outlast Trump. We're going to be talking about all of this and more today on the podcast, folks. But first, you know what's wild? Every year, Big Pharma makes billions, keeping people hooked on pain pills, but never actually fixing the problem. If you deal with daily pain, please listen closely, because there's finally something breaking that cycle, and it's called quinoladine. And people are calling it it's nature's morphine. Here's why. It gives you that same kind of powerful relief, but without the pills, the fog, or the risk of addiction. It actually helps your body activate its own natural painkillers, the same ones the pain meds try to mimic. After 14 years of research, over 2 million bottles have already been shipped because it works, folks. Real people are getting their lives back, sleeping better, moving again, and doing it naturally. Yes, I do it. I've had a bad back for 5 years, and this stuff works miracles. And right now, you can try it risk-free for 90 days for less than $1 a day. No gimmicks, no subscriptions, just honest relief from GDR Labs. Made right here in America. First, go to the link down below. It's quinoladine. Trycono.com/Nino. All right, Juanito, let's get into this. I'll pull up the first article. I guess we can start with some James Comey news, right? Or no, we want to start with Tina Peters, right? You want to start with Tina Peters?
Well, Tina, she's still sitting there in jail, and we are struggling away to make sure that we get the kind of attention that.
But I seen Trump put out posts on her, like free Tina now. I mean, he's got to do.
Well, in fact, yesterday Kari Lake put out a interview that she was interviewed there in Arizona, talking about her friend Tina, and Trump posted that on his Truth Social. So, I know that several people spoke with him and communicated with him directly on Sunday and Saturday night, and he knows about some personal things that happened within her family, even in the last few days. So he's very aware of that. Something's coming, but the timing is so critical. There's a Godfather type move coming where timing is everything, and I think he wants to include this in that move. And it's painful because she is struggling. The cough is getting deeper. You hear it when you talk to her, and it's not just a cough and cold type of a cough. As a cancer survivor, it's brutal. So
she needs treatment like ASAP immediately, man.
Yeah, the kind that get in prison. Yeah, they'll help you to the grave. I want her to be able to have a chance. And
so why do you think Trump and everyone's dragging their feet? Why don't they just? I mean, what is going on here?
Well, might not be the right terminology. It's not about dragging their feet. It's everything happens in one day type of thing, Godfather move. And so, deep breaths.
All right, Juanito, let's get to the next subject. Brennan. What the hell's going on with Brennan? So Trump's putting out post after post after post last night about Brennan. What's going on, Juanito?
Well, Brennan, he's got a rough future coming, and a lot of his activities just completely over the top. In fact, the server farm in Serbia that was used at the 2020 election, that building that's in is co-owned by Brennan and the richest man in Serbia. So he's got a lot that he'll have to answer for, and it's not that far off in the future. The 2020 stuff's going to get dealt with. You've
said that we're coming into a national emergency, and
yes,
a sweeping executive order by Trump.
Well, it's two things. I don't say national emergency and sweeping executive order precisely. They're two separate things. He's going to declare a national emergency regarding elections in the context of that national emergency, which means he can use commander-in-chief powers. When he does that emergency related to elections, national emergency, then he can step in and control what happens at the county level, where election voter rolls are created, and then the use of machines or not, and order a particular way that those elections are conducted, which is not going to include any machines at all, nothing. Even inside of the White House, the people around President Trump, they've been trying to get him to back off of this no machines mantra that he's preaching.
Wow.
And
his own people are, huh?
Well, remember, 𝗀𝗂𝗶𝗹 said in the cabinet meeting 6 months ago, this was immediately the day after her staff and she had been briefed for a week by the people who actually machine side from Serbia that are now in U.S. soil. The three primary players, and then there's quite a few smaller players that came out of Venezuela, removed to Serbia. And she said, it's just like you said, Mr. President. In other words, this is what the president had told his cabinet at some prior time. We're going to have to go to hand count paper ballots, and that's coming.
All right. So, yeah, I don't want to stick on that too long on the fluff tube. Let's get to James Comey and 𝗬𝗃𝗃 James. DOJ getting ready to throw more charges on them, Juanito?
Well, just by the way, the internet isn't free yet. Somewhere in here, they're going to have bad hair day at all these places where the algorithms control what you and I can talk about. But,
yeah, I can't stand it.
That's coming. I got it. It's coming. So anyway.
Well, what about James Comey and 𝗬𝗃𝗃 James? I mean, it looks like they got off free. We all know that ultimately this is going military, but more charges.
Well, I told you and your audience that it was far from over and that there was other stuff coming. That was just an opening round. It wasn't like it was going to. They were going to walk. Okay. Within that particular charge, that helped the American people threw red meat on the table when they were all stressed out that nothing was going to happen. They were going to get to, the statute of limitations, and they wouldn't have gotten charged. Well, they got charged. They had, bad hair day or two. The real stuff is still coming. And I told you about some of the illegal activity that Comey was involved in at the FBI, including opening investigations where he had no legal basis of doing it, and sending FBI officers as honeypots into the Trump campaign back in 2015 and 16, okay? Way before Operation Crossfire Hurricane was started. And when he did that, he was in very stark contrast with any authorization within the law. He's got really tough stuff ahead for him. And
at what point? I mean, if these charges get dismissed again, at what point does this go military, Juanito?
Well, again, there's a lot of angles here, so I wouldn't be presuming that stuff's going to get dismissed again. That was a very unique situation, and everybody's going to cross T's, dot the I's on the next one. And Comey knows that he knows what he's been up to. So he knows that when he doesn't have the top cover of people like the Biden administration folks to protect him, the people that run the auto pen, beyond even Biden himself. When he doesn't have that top cover, he's in very dire straits. So it's only a matter of time. Him, Brennan, a number of them. And of course, that's where stuff like even what Patrick Byrne, his experience with being run by people over at the FBI, that's where he gets in real trouble. And the kinds of charges that are there, cumulatively you go away and you never get out. So
Yeah.
he'll experience what they've tried to do to Tina Peters and hope to be able to do. He'll experience it for real life and not be getting out anytime soon.
Says the Justice Department is quietly mulling whether to seek new indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General 𝗦𝗫𝗍 James, a gamble to salvage the cases against two of President Donald Trump's perceived political foes. Do you love how they just word this? His retribution campaign, his revenge. It's just pathetic. It's pathetic.
It's just like your misuse of the word gambit. It's supposed to gamble. that was our greatest.
That's very common for my audience, with me and my audience.
That was our greatest spy satellite system. It was in the Corona system. I actually have some of this material, so pretty epic. But
all right,
anyway,
let's get Maduro. All right, Maduro's next.
Yeah,
let's talk about Maduro. He's saying he's going to buckle down and outlast Trump, rotating beds and cell phones and probably his underwear. Maduro plans to outlast Trump. So President Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela has tightened his personal security, including changing beds, and leaned on Cuba, a key ally, it says here, amid a growing threat of U.S. military intervention in the country, according to multiple people close to the Venezuelan government. They described an atmosphere of tension and concern gripping the president's inner circle, while adding that Mr. Maduro believed he remained in control and could ride out the latest and gravest threat of his 12-year cycle, or 12-year rule.
Well, again, I've said it to your audience several times, saying that he's coordinating his actions with Cuba. No, his Cuban masters are controlling him. He's just a puppet of Cuba. He was installed as a puppet of Cuba. So saying that he somehow is coordinating his actions, like a freaking puppet on a string. Cuba does not want Maduro to leave, in part because when he leaves, the people of Venezuela are probably going to have a for real civil war with all the Cuban managers throughout the country, throughout their government. And Cuba's really just running Venezuela, as a branch office, Cuba. So you couldn't get a driver's license in Venezuela without some Cuban verifying and allowing you to get it. Your Social Security check, anything, was all being run out of Cuba by Cubans. And by the way, the Cubans were the ones who were coordinating the flight from Iran to Venezuela. So there's a huge coordination between Iran and Venezuela that had been occurring primarily because of the Cubans. As you start going after these triads of operations, all focusing into Venezuela, and this is why President Trump is so focused on Venezuela, you go after this international kind of criminal syndicate. If you remember the way that we viewed Libya back in the 80s, and this is hard for most people because it's just too far back for most of our audience, but Libya was kind of this nexus of all the terror organizations where they could come, train, coordinate their stuff, and go back out to the rest of the world, and very little outside observation into the inner workings of Libya. That transferred in about 2000 to 2010 over to Venezuela, and it's become the nexus of all these terroristic groups working, getting money, and coordinating their actions out to the rest of the world. And remember, for example, when the vote fraud equipment was moved from Venezuela up to Serbia, the first test of that new location was a test in the election in South Africa. And that was where everything was kind of honed, perfected, etc., to put 𝗵𝗶𝗃 in. That's the guy that Trump pantsed in the White House with all of his advisors there over the white separatists being killed, or the white farmers being killed, I should say, in South Africa. That was that same crowd that is running Venezuela that did all of those tests, that did it from Serbia exporting terrorism across the world, including vote fraud. So
what about rumors are that Colombia could be next, certain areas in South America, certain other countries, and then Africa. I mean, you stated that we're probably going to go into Africa, correct?
well, it's not just that we go into Africa; it's that we start to exercise control into Africa to stop these terroristic operations like what we see in Venezuela, the drug running, and then exporting terrorism to the rest of the world.
So this once we're how let me ask you this, Juanito, before I let you go. How fast do you see these strikes or this operation take place in Venezuela? Is it going to be in and out, or is this going to drag on for months, and is it going to turn into an Iraq or Vietnam type war? A lot of people are concerned about that.
Yeah, Trump is not any of those other leaders. Okay, even delaying doing what he wants to do in Venezuela and kind of turning the screw, he's letting them have to think about it, do the mental exercises, check all of their friends, and see who's going to do whatever. Now, Maduro was offered a very sweet deal several weeks ago. He could go enjoy his money in a tropical clime and just go away. He looked like he may have taken that over the weekend and took one of the planes over to the border, was reported to have crossed into Brazil and was going to go into exile. But as I told some audiences over the last few days, I was very skeptical on that, had a wait and see attitude, although we had good intelligence that something like that had happened. It now appears that if he was planning on leaving Venezuela, it didn't happen. I would not give him high odds of survival or freedom if he's going to stay on that course. Trump's resolve is absolute. And remember, it was Venezuela and Venezuelan operators, political, military, tied into Cuba and China.
Right.
Okay, so you think Trump's going to walk away from that? It's core to everything. He has two things he wants to leave done, finished, completed when he leaves office. Number one is honest elections. Number two is honest money. And to get to the first one, that includes making sure that all the people involved in all the election fraud around the world, 72 countries, including the United States, that they basically get their head handed to them on a plate, never to let it happen again. So you have the full weight of the American military. How much do you think that Venezuela is going to be able to absorb once we decide to make moves? And are we going to do it in a broad sense, or are we going to do something that's very pinpoint accurate? I would have to say that it will be a pretty coherent, precise, exacting operation. There was China got informed several weeks ago that if they had personnel at certain locations, that they were in a war zone, and that they were all warned, of course, so that we could then go to the world and tell them that hey, we told them we're coming. Here's the places we said. If you got people in any of those places, get them out of there, or we're not responsible for what happens. So we've let them know that we're going to take military action potentially. When we do, if you're in the way, you're a victim. No whining. You got forewarned. We're going to go in there, take Maduro out, not just to like some people are. Oh, we just want the oil fields. That's all it's all about. It's just about the oil. Bullshit. We got all the oil we need. Crap, we're an exporter again of oil. Oil is in a glut right now worldwide.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that. I get a lot of emails saying that. Oh, he's just going in for the oil.
Yeah,
search your facts, and I'm like,
yeah, grade school. Okay, listen, we don't need that oil. Now, it is the richest country in the world, richer than Saudi Arabia in oil, but get it out coherently because they're running under a communist government. The reality is that if we allow that oil back onto the market, then which will have to authorize that oil tankers getting out to sea and getting to various parts of the world. When that is allowed to come out, it'll be for the Venezuelan people. The Venezuelan people want America to come take control, sort this out, stop the madness. These people, like every communist country on the planet, they kill their own people. They terrorize their own people. The justice system doesn't work. Cubans running your justice system. Oh, that works great. I mean, you think we have problems there? What about here? That's why you got a Cuba lover, 𝗂𝗂𝗶𝗹, who's the mayor of LA, who's in South Africa at a private meeting of Democrat AGs and power leaders when LA burns. Okay. She's on the other side of the planet. They're strategizing how to take out Trump.
This is crazy.
These people are all insane. Okay. They're criminally insane.
Which brings me to the next topic that I wanted to talk to you about, which is Newsom, gruesome Newsom. Look at this article bringing up right now. Here it is. It is Newsom 2028. Hollywood donors start lining up behind expected White House bid. He's a fighter. That's what we need. So here comes Newsom. Later this week, Gavin Newsom will once again command a portion of the national spotlight. Said as a marquee interview for the New York Times annual Deal Book Summit, the California governor is attracting a lot of big league attention of late all across the nation. What's your thoughts on this? Hollywood's now backing him. Nobody expects. Obviously, we have a different viewpoint on my audience does on what's going to really be happening here. But the mainstream media, the consensus with the population, really, let's say 90%, they're going to expect Newsom to run. And
okay.
What's your thoughts on that?
Let me help everybody out here. Okay, look at where it comes from. First off, New York. You understand there's piles and piles and piles of money that are thrown into political campaigns. Why is that money so important? What are they using it for? Are they buying buildings, cars, girlfriends, a few on the side? No, they're buying advertising, communication. It's Hollywood, Fifth Avenue, the best Hollywood Fifth Avenue people, PR people you can buy. Nino, that money buys public relations in the form of media. They're getting payoffs. They're getting payoffs with ads. They're getting payoffs with, backdoor deals.
Got you.
Space, okay? So that they got a good PR company that goes out and promotes Newsom in order to prep the world for Newsom coming on the scene. But this next series of elections, 2026 and 2028, isn't actually going to be run and won by money. It's not going to be won with great PR and advertising. In Newsom's case, I'm just telling you, Newsom, I don't think, becomes a factor in the election at all. Why? Number one, we're not going to have the elections conducted the same way as they were before. It's going to be hand count paper ballot. That's what the executive order emergency declaration regarding elections is going to have at the core of it. So the normal cheat isn't going to happen. And second of all, with Newsom specifically, but also other locations, Newsom has a huge problem with the bond crisis. Jamie Dimon said, it might be 6 months, 6 years, but we have a huge bond crisis coming. That's really true. And at the center of all of it is not just LA County, but all of California. They did just like what happened in Arkansas with our ADFA, Arkansas Development Finance Authority, and Rose Law Firm, which was really all about running money laundering operations through the bond market with drug money coming into the U.S. In this case, it's kind of a variation of that you have a bunch of development banks, okay, that are helping to coordinate the flow of bond money, okay? Just for those that want these nuances, the sequence was 𝗵𝗃𝗃ci, Bank of Crooks and Criminals International, was how we were money laundering black ops money, CIA money, and other intelligence agencies all over the world coordinating their actions to take their money from the drug operations and put it into the political operations to hold power. Because of exposure, and Clark Clifford was the guy that got the U.S. Charter here, very famous person his day back in the Reagan era. 𝗵𝗃𝗃ci got exposed on a lot of their money laundering operations that all went sideways and got exposed. They switched who's the they, these operators behind the scenes over at CIA and other intelligence agencies that were coordinating their actions between countries. Think globalists, think globalista using intelligence agencies like their own private security networks, okay, including to do things like Epstein and lots of other stuff. They went into the bond market. So in Arkansas, one of a dozen states that had this type of arrangement, they did this Arkansas Development Finance Authority in order to promote business with developmental money. If you're really smart, you got $500 million in loans or bond money through ADFA that were loans, and you never had to pay any of that back. How well would your life be if you could take a loan, never had to pay it back, and there's no consequence? And by the way, no tax consequence for receiving the money.
Be wonderful.
How much money do you pay on a $1 billion loan in taxes?
Right.
You don't pay any taxes on a loan. It's a loan. It's not income. So these people are really smart, bringing money in from outside the country in the form of bond money through the markets. Now you go to California and you have these finance banks that are helping to run the bond money into the markets that cause taxes on people's property and all that. What do they call them? Developmental banks. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Development Finance Authority, Arkansas, etc. All of those.
Interesting.
Nebraska Development Finance Authority, all that stuff. California and New York are the worst of the worst of the worst. There's a lot of bad places, but part of the deal is, what they would do is they'd do like a school bond project or a stadium or something, and so they would take out a $10 million bond initiative to the public. By the time it gets paid back, it's $100 million. It might be $150 million. You're talking about 10 and 15 times the original project money going back in not just
ridiculous,
interest, but fees and expenses to the legal firms. Okay, and that's all tied to property taxes and other types of taxes for the consumer. I mean, the proper way to do it, by the way, let me just say this real quick, because this is really important. Knowing how expensive that borrowed money is. If you're going to have to pay 10 times the money back, 15 times the money back, I mean, even mobsters would be embarrassed to charge this kind of fees, okay? Over 40 or 50 years. It's like you're in perpetual slavery. You're selling your children in slavery, okay? Literally, financial slavery. So instead of doing that in these exact same locations, and I remember when the LA schools were the best in the country, and it was for real. 40 and 50 years ago, California schools were the best in the country. Today, they're the worst, and it's because the way the money has been siphoned off through these various rackets and programs. But in the bond money, instead of doing a developmental bond, just do a trust. Do a trust and take the same money that you would take from taxes on property and the public, etc. Do the same thing. Just do it for 3 to 5 years. Put the money in a piggy bank, which people of my generation actually had piggy banks, and they were actually shaped like piggies. We put money in them and go open a bank account when we were like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. But you save up that money, you get interest while you're saving it, and then you use your real cash. How hard would it have been to save up $10 million over 3 to 5 years for the same property owners and then pay cash for your new school building? In fact, you could break dirt when you're, 60 or 70% money in the bank, and you know that the property taxes are coming in for another year and it's finally finished. Why would you do a bond where it's going to take 30 to 40 to 50 years to pay off, and exorbitant interest rates, and the law firms are just raking in the cash? Every year they get paid for managing this bond money, okay? They take off massive fees. It's a racket. And all those companies involved, they're all paying into the elections machine. Politicians, it's not just Democrats, by the way, it's rhinos too, getting this campaign money for these various municipal bonds, stadium bonds, school bonds are the worst of the whole thing. It's insane. Just put money in a piggy bank and be done.
Juan, I got a question for you. I'm just getting breaking news. This has been happening. I'm getting a lot of breaking posts from Donald Trump. I can't verify this because I don't have time to check on my computer, but maybe my audience can. But it's saying that Maduro, Venezuelan president, publicly surrendered to Trump. Maduro has now turned in state evidence against the Biden administration and is releasing proof that Biden asked the Venezuelan government to ship Tren de Agua drug gangs into the U.S. Is there any truth on this, Juanito? This is people are just sending this to me right now.
Yeah, that came out yesterday, and I'm not sure that that's actually completely accurate. It's sort of accurate,
Trump posted it, I guess, right?
Yeah. You have trolling going on, okay?
So that's not accurate then?
Well, I would say it may be a little different. You probably have to do a little deeper to understand completely what's going on there. And I've looked at that pretty closely because I got it yesterday, and I had the same question you did. Was that actually Trump that said that? There's a bit of trolling going on, and if you slice and dice,
Trump retruthed it. They're saying that Trump retruthed it.
Right. And
so is this guy okay? So hold on, is this guy giving up, or is he cooperating, or is he going to stand his ground?
Well, again, that's
this
part
thing
of the
is
whole
ever
point.
changing. It's like every second. Like we started this show, I got this is crazy. Like he's getting ready to stand his ground, and then 2 seconds later, the guy's ready to give up. What the fuck is going on here?
Well, okay, so think about this again. When you have deception in war, that's part of war, the art of deception. So your enemy never fully knows exactly what you got going on, and deceptions are necessary. So the people around Maduro, they're having a real problem. Maduro's not communicating with them directly, so they have to watch the same news everybody else does. So when behind the scenes within the military community, there was a number of people saying that Maduro was on the plane that went over to the border with Brazil, which was a real plane, actually did that, and it supposedly went by land into Brazil, was going into exile. A lot of the people around Maduro were panicking because does this mean now if he's gone, the second he's gone, the people of Venezuela are going to feel very ready to go after their Cuban overlords, okay? Literally, the war is on. You're going to have a civil war in Venezuela going after the Cubans to kick them out. What are the Cubans going to do? There's not just like 5 or 10. There's tens and tens of thousands. Are they going to be able to go back to Cuba? Are they going to even have transportation to get safely out of the country? They're just going to get their throat split, get their house blown up, get their kids taken into custody right there in Venezuela because they've embedded themselves in Venezuela. And the Venezuelan people know who is actually occupiers, Nazis.
So
literally Trump occupied France with Nazis, okay? Venezuela is occupied by Cubans, and they're going to revolt. So you're giving out disinformation.
So that's what Trump is doing right now.
So it comes from an official place. It's not, Trump didn't create that. It's a retruth thing. And take a look at it. You think about it. Okay, is that what's going on, or is it that Maduro's leaving, or is Maduro embedded
Trump?
himself?
Yeah. So this way, his own people will come after him.
And remember,
his business interests, right? So Trump could be, oh yeah, Trump's playing with him and probably sending signals to the people that he's dealing with that he's
Maduro has to be very concerned, Nino.
Oh wow!
About
okay.
even the generals around him, because there's a $50 million bounty on his head.
Wow. Okay.
One of the things that he's concerned about, he's afraid to get on somebody's plane in somebody's control within his own military, because they could literally throw the bag over his head and the cuffs on him.
Wow.
And,
okay. So hold on.
Okay,
So,
so
by
he's
Trump
afraid.
putting this out there, he's going to make it to where nobody around Maduro is going to trust Maduro, and Maduro is going to trust nobody around him. And they could probably, like you said, put a bag over his head and send him to Trump.
Well, let me use an example, and within certain communities, everybody knows this history. When Escobar was in prison up in Colombia, and he had El Cathedral, so he builds his own prison that they're going to throw him into with all of his henchmen. He had to run his organization through other people. And two of his most trusted allies within his drug operations had their own kind of families. And at a certain point, the wife said something to Escobar's wife that sounded like she was upset with the deal, because they were having to pay huge money in kind of taxes to keep the government happy and to run El Cathedral and all that. So this wife complained. The word got back to Escobar, and these guys come in for their monthly meeting with the boss, and they're all happy and drinking beers and chasing girls and everything else. Escobar confronts them. Hey, you guys upset with this tax you're having to pay in order to keep everything going smooth? And they tell, oh yeah, no problem at all. Well, Escobar doesn't believe them. He's half drunk anyway. He likes his own marijuana. He drinks way too much. He's got resin brain by this point in time. And on a whim, just pissed off, he kills the guys right there on the prison grounds. And just beats him to death. Then they burn the bodies in one of the heater systems for the central heating and all that, big boilers, and burn the bodies. It later comes out through the wife and other people that are all pissed off, one of the wives, that they got killed at the prison. They went up there, never came back. That embarrasses the government. It gets pushed on the papers and like that. Escobar was actually doing pretty good right up until he started questioning other people around him. Now everybody who's working for him knows he's like, he's already killed thousands and thousands. In his career, he killed about 400 or 500 police officers a year. That's 1 to 2 a day of police officers being killed. It was a horrible thing for Colombia, but Escobar was becoming more and more unpredictable as he got cornered and caged. Maduro's in a similar situation. He's already taken out some of the key people around him he needs for his protection to actually run the racket.
So by Trump putting out this post, it's going to make the people around him question him even more and then turn on him, basically. It's going to make it a lot harder.
All sides.
Oof.
Maduro can't trust the people around him, and the people around him are highly incentivized to make a deal and get Maduro taken out. Just like the people around Escobar were highly incentivized, just take the deal and go away and have a life.
Oh my Lord.
And you're done.
Oh, so, this is bad.
And then you have to remember, in the context of all that, that's the microcosm of the political military side. Okay, Maduro's saying he's going to outlast Trump, and he's assuming that all of his military is going to be trustworthy and do whatever the hell he says. They're going to jump on flaming hot coals for him.
So
they're
Juan,
not going to.
What do you think? What's the play Maduro's going to make? He's going to stand his ground or surrender. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, he had an option and he had a date. The date was yesterday. He could be out of the country, go do his thing, have some money, and go away. And that was a good option for everybody involved because it lets the Venezuelan people move on with life. But he hasn't shaken that. He didn't trust the deal. He could have gone to Iran. He could have gone to a couple other places, arguably, possibly Turkey. They had another place that he was offered. He didn't like it, but it puts him on an island. At least he's living in a tropical environment. He's alive. His family's alive. He'd have a little money to get by. He didn't take it. The time is now passed, and so it's on. And how long?
Okay, so we will see military strikes on Maduro probably when?
Well, I mean, again, it's a shock and awe thing. But the shock and awe is, in this case, when do the bullets start flying? When do the bombs start flying? We've run a couple of times now where we had aircraft all going in and they were very clearly coming to Venezuela. They show up like neon lights because there's no aircraft flying over Venezuela right now. And we'd run stuff right up to a certain area and they were sure we were tagging it. Well, I was in the air. Everybody saw it. All of the Cubans and Chinese warned Maduro's people it's coming. And then we had ground forces coming in a different part of the country going and hitting specific spots. It was watch the right hand is magician's trick, and we actually did something else. We do that a few times. It gets harder and harder for them because everything they see, they now have to go, well, that's not the real thing because they're probably doing something else. Look at how they've been doing it. And all of a sudden, there's that one time when, oh, excuse me, this is actually real. It's too late. You've already figured out after the fact. It's Normandy versus Calais. Where are the Allies landing? We're going to not telegraph with precision exactly what our next move is. And then Trump posting things is part of keeping them keyed up. How long can you stay awake? How many hours? How can the troops and everything else? At some point, they're so fatigued they start making stupid decisions. They do stupid things because they're just so tired, and that's what'll happen to them. That type of fatigue is brutal in this kind of a situation. And we've been moving equipment, men, carriers into place for weeks, months, and they know it. How long can they take that level of stress? And then we can do a couple things here or there. If anybody wants to say, oh, well, Trump did this, Trump did that. Well, actually, no, he's just sitting there. He's just getting ready. We have the luxury of deciding what day, hour, minute we move. They don't have the luxury of dropping their guard for an instant. How long can they stay keyed up? So we're doing exactly what you're supposed to do in these kinds of situations. Trump's people are giving him great advice in this situation, and we're going to do what we do with minimum human casualties to the Venezuelan people. We'll go take the bad guys out. They want to make it sink. And then, by the way, if you want to take the deal, all we want is Maduro. Give us Maduro and kick the Cubans out so the Venezuelan people can have a life. And by the way, the Cubans, get your families out, get your wife, get your kids, get your concubine out of there because we're coming. And then the remaining Cubans, you can get on a plane and get out of here. If you don't want to, you want to stick around, you might have a short half-life.
Well, Juanito, this has been a great podcast. Are you going to be the general in the general's tent, Juanito, this month in December?
Yeah, I think I'll be around somewhere.
Okay, so let's schedule a day in December. A lot of people are waiting to ask you a lot of questions. And I know, I think perfect timing will be end of December. So I'll work out a date with you, Juanito.
Well, let me just add this. The
Okay.
thing that we probably need to be looking at is certainly the election stuff is huge, and we could have an announcement somewhere in here that makes that overwhelming for people. But I like to be ahead of things, and it is the financial stuff that is going to people won't be able to make huge difference impact based on what's going to happen with the elections and the election process with what Trump does with the emergency national security order.
Okay.
But they can get ahead of what's coming in the financial and where things are going. And so talking about that, that's something that people can address within their own personal life so that they're not caught flat-footed. 99% of the people out there will be caught flat-footed. I wouldn't want your audience to be some of those people. So we should talk about that and what that transition looks like from the Federal Reserve to the U.S. Treasury running our currency, controlling the bankers and the banks. You don't have to nationalize stuff. You just have to take control of it and make them run it the way you want it run. It's got a similar equivalent, and the Treasury is going to do that. And with that in mind, we do have our silver coins over at Jen's shop.
𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏
all.patriot at gumroad.com, where I've got the site over there for volume for more coins. We have a special package show over there. But anyway, that's an extremely good deal. It only lasts a few days because I put something over there to draw attention to where we're going with the silver like that. And by the way, you probably noticed even today, I've told your audience what's going on with silver. On Friday, you had the biggest one-day jump in silver prices ever, 6.1% on the world market in a 24-hour period. That would have been over 9%, pushing 10%, except a little game was played when the silver was going to outer space. It wasn't just gold, wasn't, it was silver.
Right.
Silver was rocketing. It was headed for a 10% jump in price in one day on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, which I told some audiences that you got to watch that holiday windows because this is when a lot of the mischief happens. It would have been nearly 10%, except that they claimed that a server farm overheated with an air conditioning problem and it had to shut down. Here's the problem. If you didn't do that, if they didn't have that little thing, you would have continued to do the trading. They said that it caused prices to spike, and it was the exact opposite. It suppressed prices because you couldn't do the trades. It's a big deal, bro.
I got you, Juanito.
All right.
I got you. So thejennifermac.com.
Today it's up radically right now, just so you know already today. The silver price is up quite a bit today. Anyway, yeah, thejennifermac.com. And I should say Monday. Today it's down just a hair already, but it's still powering forward. So
thank you, Juanito.
And then all.patriots at gumroad.com for
so Juan, stay with me for a second. We'll schedule the general tent right now. That way I can start promoting it on ninoscorner.tv, folks. Also, ninoscorner.tv is 50% off all annuals right now. I'm still doing the Black Friday special. We're gonna do it a little bit longer.
It's Tuesday, Nino. It's not Friday.
I know, but I'm still going with it. So
that Hollywood public relations crowd has got to Nino. Oh my god.
No. never.
All right,
Juanito. All right, so stay with me, Juanito, just for a second.
All right.
Thank you, folks. God bless.